Hi everyone, this is Lauren.
This is Holland.
And welcome to the Sex Ed for You podcast, where research meets reality.
This is the podcast for people who want to date and have great sex that is safe, fun, and enjoyable.
We want to empower our listeners to make informed decisions that lead to values-based living. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Today we're talking all about flirting.
Flirting it is. You know, I'm really passionate about flirting because of my theater background.
Tell us more.
And I think that it's a lost art form.
Okay.
So really, I don't think we've ever talked about this.
No.
But I really, what I'd love to talk about today is the social scripts and the sexual scripts that I think so many of us follow, and how to find flirting that really feels embodied instead. That is just more like, kind of like a window. I was going to say into the soul, but then that sounded really stupid.
Flirt like it's a window to your soul.
That feels like I am showing you the most authentic me. Because I think that most of us flirt in a way that's put on, not as much us.
Why do you think that?
Because of some of the things that you said earlier. That's
why. She said because I've watched you.
Proof. Because not only you, but so many of our clients also will tell me what they did. And I'm like, but that's not you. Like, yeah. I know you to be this like, you and other people, like gregarious, wise, direct, straightforward, decisive. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Also gender roles. Fair. I think gender roles lead so many of us to think like, oh, I need to be coy.
And like, I don't know, I just get nervous. Mm-hmm. I get so anxious and I'm like, I don't know what the words will come out of my mouth and I don't even know what they are. Like it's just like word vomit because I get nervous and I get anxious and I'm like, I'm looking in your eyes and your eyes are just so pretty and I don't know what to say anymore and I just get lost.
I know. Like OG teacher in this arena used to always say, and I've talked to you about this before, that we should date people that we're not right off the bat like attracted to. Like that we should date, like if it's a scale of 1 to 10 and 10 is like the most attractive person we've ever seen before, that we should date like a 7, 8 so that we have our rational capabilities. And I know why she says this, right? Because we've all had it happen. Audience, don't be lying. Where you get in the presence of someone and the words you knew are no longer there.
I do it all the time. Mm-hmm. You've witnessed it.
It's my favorite because we all know Holland to be this very well-spoken, eloquent, nuanced human. And then I've seen her, you know what? It probably has to do with our lived childhood experiences too, because I've seen you back juvenile.
That's true.
Uh-huh. Which is cute and precious. Please hear me. It's the best.
Oh, I know. I am like
really the best.
Such a serial flirter too. Like I flirt with everyone. The thing is, when I flirt with someone I actually find attractive, like the person we're both currently thinking of.
But we also have Saturday as data for this. Saturday at the market.
Right.
Oh, this is a good topic.
That's so true. That is so true. No, okay. So with men, it's also different. I flirt differently with men and women.
Mm-hmm. I've also gotten to witness this.
Yeah. But in college, my best friend would be like, Holland, you flirt with every single human being that you come across. And not in like a bad way,
yeah.
But especially like I don't know I'm doing it, especially if I've had a little bit to drink. Mm-hmm. I just hold eye contact and I'm like very engaged in conversations, and I have to read lips sometimes because I can't hear very well, weirdly enough. And so like I just make really direct eye contact that is just very intentional, and a lot of people think that that's flirting. Mm-hmm. So I have been known to like romance someone with no intent, zero interest. And it's happened. I'm thinking of like one specific time. There's this thing called Chili Fest, which is like this huge drinking concert thing that A&M does.
Texas.
Yeehaw, baby. So it was after that, and it was just some guy that was in our group, and we were just talking. Everybody was just waiting for like the Uber or the ride or whatever. And this man literally tried to come home with me. And I was like, oh, we're just in the same group. I was just talking to you. Mm-hmm. And then we come around to this person that I'm actually really interested in, and I can't flirt for shit. I'm just awkward and uncomfortable, and I'm like overthinking everything that comes to my head because they make me nervous.
Holland says, yeah, so every time they came up to me, I'd just keep reading. I was like, well, they might interpret that, hear me out, as you not wanting them to disturb you.
I was
or
just
you
engrossed. I'm trying to come off as bookish, okay?
I mean, which you are. Okay, so this is kind of in line to what I'm saying. You are. You read a lot. You journal a lot. Yes. I don't think these are inauthentic. I just think that that you would love to engage this person in conversation or be engaged with them in conversation. And so that's what's funny. Like, not necessarily that you're not bookish.
It was not wholly intentional. It was like, I didn't fully acknowledge them the first second they walked up to me. And I was like, well, this might work better than the other tactics I've been using because it's clearly not worked thus far.
The tactics. Yeah, they haven't really been tactics. They've been like subconscious, like manifestations of, oh, if I do this and I'm willing them to talk to me tonight, which is precious. I love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
One step away from performing some fucking woo-woo magic, okay? I'm not above it.
Okay, so let's zoom out from this situation because I always love it when you solve your own things because you're so wise. What do you think, hypothetically, good flirting should do for you and I and our audience? What should good flirting allow opportunities for?
This is such a broad question.
I know.
I know.
If someone was to say like
what is
in 2024, where we hope there's more egalitarianism, there's more equality, what should good flirting do?
Oh my God, I don't know if I've ever thought about this. Flirting, what is it? Because I'm kind of processing this question as like, what is the purpose of flirting in 2024? Like, what is the goal? To show interest.
Ooh.
To express like desire in a socially acceptable way, to be like, I don't know, like it almost feels like I'm putting my putting my ring in the court, putting my
yeah,
like just kind of showing like, hey, I'm here. I don't know, but like more intentionally.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think flirting can be that, but it can also just be like a fun activity. That's the thing. So for me, like I almost lean more towards it being just like, it's just fun. It's just part of life. Like kind of the Renee Rapp thing that I had said 2 weeks ago. Like it's just fun to interact with the world in a fun and flirty way.
Yes.
So there's that. And then there's also flirting for like the purpose of like putting my hat in the game. God damn, I cannot get this metaphor. What is it?
Hat in the ring. Putting your hat in the ring.
That's what it is.
Is it supposed to be a circus analogy or is it supposed to be like a bullfighting analogy?
I'm not certain.
We need y'all to help us.
But either way, hat in the ring versus fun, flirty lifestyle.
Okay. And I agree with both of those. And so number one is a lifestyle choice of we all deserve attention. And I think that we all walk around with so much fear and shame clouding us, right? Fear of leading someone on, or shame that we don't deserve attention, or shame that we could embarrass someone, yada, yada. That lifestyle, I think, is a great idea. And then, yeah, hat in the ring, second point, interesting, like to infer interest, invite response, could absolutely be. And then I would argue third would be, yeah, to showcase some of our best qualities and showcase some of like, oh, this is the me that maybe not everybody sees, in like a direct way, like a precursor to what a sexual encounter could be, like a little bit, like a step more intimate,
a teaser.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like a trailer.
A trailer.
It's a trailer video for a movie.
Which is all three of these things. I think I'd like to bring back to sexual values. Have we ever done the sexual values worksheet as a downloadable with a code?
I'm sure, but we can do it again.
We could do it again. Because I think many of us fear flirting because we don't know what we stand on. And I think maybe we fear, oh, I went too far. I love the Chili Fest example.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, fuck, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
I just was flirting. Well, if we are doing, we love values aligned living over here, an action that truly aligns with our values, like I'm flirting for fun, or I'm flirting for connection, or if it's in alignment, then we're like, oh, I got that. No, that was enough. And it's interesting to me.
Pondering.
Yeah, that we could maybe not flirt because we don't know where it's going to go, which a little bit of that is like curiosity is the key to intimacy. So I think some of that is okay. Like, I don't know where it's going to go, especially if you've already like background checked or like, you know, this person, or
you've run a background check on this casual person that you've just bumped into that you want to flirt with.
My friends did this to Trey. Yeah. Because we met in California, and then after our first date, he was taking me to like a hotel, like resort thing. And my friends were like, hold up. No, he's not. Not until we've background done a background check. And so they had him send a copy of his ID to me. And then somebody ran a background check because they had a connection to somebody and they could do that. And we totally did. And they were like, well, he had a speeding ticket on this day and a speeding ticket on this day. And they were like 3 years apart. And that was all that was on his record.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Have I never told you that?
No, and I know who the friend is, so I'm like, wow.
I was like, wow.
Pop off, queen. That's something I think I would do for my friends, but not for myself.
Yeah. I was so trusting of him. Something about intuition was just like, this is fine. But I was like, no, if that makes you feel better, I think that's a great idea.
That's so funny.
So if you've done your background check.
Step 2 in the process
2 is to know your own values and know that consent can always be revoked. I think we live in a culture still that we're all a little afraid of, well, I led them on. Well, I did desire this, but I didn't desire that. And well, but I feel bad. And that's simply just not a thing. We all need to know that it's okay. It would be okay if you were reading and you looked up from your book and you were like, hey, got a second? And they said, yeah. And you said, like, you're looking really cute tonight. And they said, oh, really? Thank you. And yeah, I've wanted to tell you all night. And it's like, okay, now I need to get back to my reading. That could be all you do. And it's okay.
See, the thing is, Lauren, that is so on brand for me to do pretty much exactly that.
I know. I'm trying to give examples that sound like you.
They are. No, that's 100%. And all of my friends are like, Holland, like, this crush has gone on too long. This is considered pining at this point, Holland. Like, you need to get your shit together and make a move. They're all very confused. There's two people. All 2 people.
All of them.
Who are aware, have both said, Holland, this is so unlike you. It's insane. And I don't even know what that means. You clearly have something.
I just had a thing. Okay, so if we're flirting to hopefully show someone a deeper piece of us or a more sensual piece of us, or do you think in seasons of growth where maybe we're coming into this new person that we are, that maybe we feel gangly and awkward again because it's like, who am I letting someone in to see?
Oh my God, yes.
That's why I just made that face.
No, that makes so much sense.
Because I was like, whoa.
Yeah, 100%. Because there is really like a discomfort in, not even discomfort. Oh, you know what it is?
Podcast.
I am so protective over the new me.
Yeah.
I am so protective over like this space that I've built for myself. And like this life is very much like, I am very much alone. That sounds sad, but like I am just very much alone.
There's
in this
a difference
new life.
between alone and lonely. There's a difference between a season of like coming out of your cocoon and having like made a new like version of self, a generative self. No, that's
like I'm just still building my community. I am very much in the early stages of what does it look like for this version of me to live their fullest life. Yeah. And like I have a very, very tiny group. Like right now it's like you and then like my long distance friends who have been there for me. Like 2 or 3 people are in my circle right now, y'all. Like, it is small.
Yep.
And so I am very protective over who comes into that circle, because I'm like I deserve to be loved in the right way, to be appreciated, valued, et cetera, et cetera. And I am no longer allowing just anybody into the circle. And I think there is a little bit of apprehension around the idea of allowing somebody in, of letting them pass. Like, I'm really good at this bravado, the side of me that y'all see, like this camera, whatever. Like, I'm decent at that, of being like this outgoing person and fun, and she has a cool, quirky job, and like, oh my gosh, she reads so much, and like, I have my personality that the public sees, okay? And that is me to a degree, 100%, but there's also the me that it like lives behind closed doors, and that is the me that I am like so protective of right now. And so while there is this comfort in my bravado, I am also really nervous about what it looks like to let people see the side of me that has insecurities, that is smaller and just like very emotional, very connected, working through trauma, the me that's like, I don't know, learning what it's like to live independently of her family and her friends back home. Like, that version of me is so she's fragile still. Yeah. She's just like a little tiny baby.
Yes.
And I'm nervous to let her but like let others in.
Yes. Well, and it's going to make me weep. That's a whole trauma-informed view, because it's not what's wrong with me. Why can't I flirt? It's, oh, this is what has happened. And I am wisely, slowly letting her be shown, be seen, testing waters. I feel like we say this maybe every podcast, but that's not, nothing's wrong. You're just protecting.
Yeah.
Also made me think of the book we're reading in Hemlock right now. Shout out, go to sexedforyou.com/Hemlock to join. Use code BRANCH.
For your first month, free.
We're reading Come Together by Emily Nagoski, her new book. And I think I was telling you last week in the car when we were driving to our news segment, that change comes in 5 stages, that there's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation. Those are all 3 before, then action, then maintenance. And so I wonder if a successful flirting practice, when especially one has come into a more deep understanding as who they are as a sexual being, needs to go gently through all of those stages. And we talk about spiral dynamics on here, even though I know nothing about spiral dynamics, but I know this concept that spiraling back down feels hella uncomfortable. And so I wonder if you experience a little of that too when you try to reach for in your old bag of tricks.
Oh my God. Yes. You've seen it happen in lifetime, like multiple times. Lauren and I have been at this.
Come work with me at Sex Ed for You, where I get to do this.
You just saw her do it live.
This is my favorite thing.
Saw it here first, folks.
Okay, but tell the story. Yeah.
Yeah, like there have been times where I am trying to flirt and I like genuinely can't. I feel like I'm trying to reach for something that's not there anymore. And it's like I want to flirt. And so then, because that, like what I'm used to using, my bag of tricks, is so uncomfortable to me, when it comes out, I immediately feel like, ugh, like, ew, that was wrong. That was so icky. I'm thinking of the time we were talking about, y'all, welcome to the innards of my brain and the most, oh my gosh, embarrassing things I've ever said out loud. We were talking about whatever relationship I was in at the time. And for some reason, I said something along the lines of, it doesn't matter. That's why I have a vibrator. And I said it so loud. And this person was right there. And it felt so gross. Like the second it came out of my mouth, I was like, that is something, yes, that like old Holland would have said and used as like a line. Because it's like, but it's like raunchy in a way that I am not anymore.
I mean, she's raunchy.
I'm raunchy, but like not to that.
Not as a gimmick.
Yes.
That's when I see you do these things. And again, everybody please know, in our world here, there's no right and wrong.
No.
There's simply us stumbling through like
Figuring
awkward
it
little
out.
fawns. So I don't know. I'm very big on, if people had given me more permission when I was 23 to just fucking live my life, I'd be a lot, I don't know. It would have been a lot different. So, yes. But when I witness these things, it's almost, it feels like, in discordance.
Yeah.
Because, we believe in vibrators here.
100%.
As like a human right. But like the way it was said, in which is like, let me use a gimmick to pretend I'm raunchy, which the funniest thing is, it's like, I'm not pretending, I am. And so it's like, it doesn't come from that.
No, it came from like a need for attention. It was not like, I'm trying to even think of how to explain it.
Well, then I just thought of another thing. This idea that the United States of America, I think, perpetuates the most, but I'm sure it happens other places too, that women should be low maintenance, that women should be like easygoing.
Right.
You can bring me along. It's okay. I know how to take care of myself. I don't think you were consciously doing that, but I do think that it's okay, I've got a vibrator, right?
Yeah.
Like it's another piece of this layer of no. We all deserve egalitarian relationships. Pleasure should be equal for all beings. All. It doesn't mean that orgasm needs to be our goal in every sexual encounter, not at all. But we cannot hold people with penises to this super low standard that, well, you should just only be with women who know how to use a vibrator because that's so much easier. You did not intend to do that. She did not intend to do that. But I think the callback, right?
Yes.
Is that inference of, I'm one of the cool people.
Yeah.
And that relationship that I was in while Trey was gone, that 6-weeker.
Yep.
He was a big camper, and I am not a camper. I don't camp. But I was bound and determined to be a woman who could do that.
A woman who could do it.
And have no needs.
Yeah. Like be the cool girl, like low maintenance. I'll go camping with you for sure. Like no problem.
Yeah.
I would rather do anything else.
Yeah. The sex in the forests was very nice. We did have lots of outdoor sex. That was
Sounds
lovely.
like a lot of mosquito bites.
It was.
Ugh.
And I prefer sex in nice hotel beds. It's just nicer.
Yeah, I would
but
too.
That was fun. It was very like illicit.
It's
like,
an adventure.
Yes. But other than that, I just, sweet Lord. Yeah. She wanted somebody to keep her around.
Be loved.
Yeah. What was she really needing?
Yep.
Let's talk about that. Had she really just been abandoned in her psyche by the man that she truly loved? Yes. So she was like, somebody else choose me.
Choose me. Love me. Pick me.
Okay, what's coming up in your mind out of all this discussion? Because wow.
That I clearly need to reassess and recreate a flirting toolbox that is accurate to who I am today. And so maybe we talk about what does that look like?
Okay, let's make some sex ed for you flirting guidelines. Is that what you called them earlier?
Toolkit.
A toolkit.
I love a toolkit.
Okay, so we'll start with the Bible. This is Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Marie Brown, The Politics of Feeling Good. It's very like a lot of like philosophy. And then, boy, there are some bangers of just like step-by-steps in here. For those who know, when we talk about principles of liberated relationships, that comes from her work. And when we talk about flirting right now, it's coming from here. She just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. Notice the nonverbal cues before starting a conversation. So She says, we're all unlearning coy. If someone is avoiding your eyes, it's intentional.
Who, me?
So this is what I was trying to say to Holland earlier. While I'm finishing my hair, she's telling me how she's avoiding eye contact. And I was like, okay, yep. This person who you're flirting with is actually a very consensual person. So if you're not making eye contact, they're respectful. They're going to leave you alone. They're not going to interrupt you. So anyway, on the flip side, lingering eye contact is a great way to begin a flirtation. It's great. Number 1, notice nonverbal cues. Number 2, be yourself. I love this. They're going to meet your real self eventually, which is why I think you've been protective. And I think that's beautiful. Might as well lead with it. Let yourself show, and the right people will be compelled by you. We talk about this in Hemlock all the time. This idea of, don't hide your light under a bushel. Gotta let it shine. Because it's my hope for humanity that the people who see our light shining will be drawn to us. Not we need to keep it inside and be coy. Because we're all exactly who we should be. We're fully enough and only enough. And sometimes that's wild and the good kind of raunchy. And sometimes it's leave me alone, let me hermit with my book. Mm-hmm. But your light, God, drew me to you. That's for sure. Next, release the end goal, which we were talking about this a little earlier. Let yourself really be present with the person in front of you, really see them, attend to them, compliment them, learn from the journey and the play. We do talk about this. You love to romanticize the ending.
I do.
I already think about the ending. But I'm saying this only because I see this with so many other people too. I think so many of us do it. And so then we're like, damn it, I didn't do such and such. That's not going to lead to my storybook ending. It's
the one I've already planned.
Yeah. Instead of releasing the end goal, which we always say in pleasure too.
Oh, yeah.
And just getting to soak it up in the moment. Ooh, and I love this part. The framework of the game is not about catching the other person, but connecting with the other person while being yourself. Instead of trying to impress the other person, pay attention to your own interest. Is it growing? Where do you feel it in your body? And how good you feel being yourself?
That's really beautiful.
I think that one's really different from how we were taught about flirting.
Yeah.
I think that if we'd polled the audience, they would say flirting is to impress somebody else.
Oh, really?
What can I do to get their attention?
Yeah. Yeah, like a ploy for attention. I think I can understand that. I can understand where it comes from, for sure.
I can too.
Yeah.
Yeah, notice me, right? That type of energy, which is not wrong.
No.
We talk about human needs on here all the time.
I think it's another one of those perspective shifts, which is my favorite thing in the world. Uh-huh. And I actually heard something on one of the social medias the other day about going into first dates. And instead of thinking, oh my God, will they like me? Being so nervous, are they going to like me? Am I going to have enough to talk about? Am I going to look good enough? Et cetera, et cetera. Instead of going into it that way, am I going to like them?
Yeah.
Just flip the perspective. And that has truly been instrumental for me lately, especially since I have a first date tomorrow. And so it's going into these things more so thinking is this the person we're going to connect and we're not. And it's not about my worth. It's not about their worth. No. It's about if our two souls, as sappy as that is, do our souls connect? Do our souls want to be near each other? Do we feel a connection and attraction? Do we want to be friends? Do we want to be lovers? Do we want to be in relationship? And it's a fun, I don't know. It's not necessarily, am I good enough? It's more so, is this connection worth pursuing for both of us?
I think that's beautiful too, because resonance is such a thing too, a state of development. And these are not things, we were just talking about stages of change that we can force anyone to be on. So either we're going to be on the same plane as the other human that we're interacting with, or we're not. That's no one's fault. My best friend and I were talking with Trey about this Sunday night, I think. And she was asking him, you had never wanted to be married, then why all of a sudden did you marry Lauren? And he was kind of saying, I didn't even go into it thinking I'm ready to get married. It was not like another guy that we were just talking about in your life, who's actively hunting for, his partner. No, I would say it was more about the resonance and just this just knowing the moment Trey and I saw each other. But we couldn't have scripted that. Yeah. And I'm always so thankful for the fact that like I didn't think I was going to see him again. I was the most authentic flirter I've ever been, completely accidentally that night, because I was wilder than I had ever been on a first date. Because there was no risk. And I want that for us all. I asked super intentional questions because if he disqualified himself, I didn't care. I wasn't trying to impress him to me, and I wasn't trying to be impressed by him. And golly day, was it beautiful. Wow. Okay, last one. Last two. Even in flirtation, value the differences between yourself and this other human. Don't compromise on your core values. Don't giggle at something you find ignorant or offensive. Don't hang up because this human with a different life has reached different conclusions. Yeah. I think that goes back to like some of the discordance that I've felt sometimes with you. And it's not like inappropriate, but I'm just like, oh, but Holland now wouldn't really find that as funny as she just laughed at. Like, I know her. She has a very good sense of humor, and that was too cheap. Like, you don't deserve her laugh.
No.
Like, yeah, but I think we giggle because we want people to feel special.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What was it about the Charlottesville trip? I don't even remember what.
Did you flirt there?
Did I? I don't know. No, you brought it up. So I'm like, did I?
Wait, Charlottesville. Wait, did I bring it up?
Yeah, you said like this past weekend when we were in Charlottesville. Was it when like the girl that we were walking? You said at the market.
No. I meant literally this past weekend. You were going 2 weekends back when you went to the farmer's market and someone commented on your tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now
remember that one?
Same page. I do. Yes.
You get a lot of people are drawn to you, which I am sure is because of this light that you bear. And yeah, so that's what
sometimes I fumble the bag aggressively. So sad.
This is the last point. Take risks. When you feel something come up that you want to say but you're scared to say, you're on the precipice between the lie of omission and the bravery of honesty. You want what's on the other side of that precipice. Say what you want so you'll either get it or know you can't get it in this connection. Good old Adrienne.
God, she's so good.
Listen. That of which to me, this lines up with all of our Dr. Betty Martin consensual communication stuff of, ooh, that's interesting. Of if I just clearly and consensually can state what I'm feeling, even if I'm fumbling a little bit, then the person gets to decide whether or not they're interested in providing it for me. Now, you and I talked about this coming home from Tuesday. We talk a lot.
We do.
That as a projector, you do love to be invited in. Mm-hmm. And so we were pitching around. Do you remember this? Like different phrases you could say that say to a person you're interested in, like I give you permission to invite me in.
Yeah.
So I do think the human design nerds in us could also revisit the subject from a whole like human design perspective, because I think that some of what you might be experiencing too is more in alignment than you've ever been.
Yeah.
Which is, no, I wait for an invitation.
Yes.
Because I have a lot to offer and I want you to do that.
But I have to grapple with, I'm waiting for the invitation because my body, like, I just feel comfortable with that, versus the patriarchal, what I was raised to believe of that, like, if a man isn't chasing you, he doesn't want you that bad. He doesn't want you enough. Yep. That is so deeply intrinsically in my body. And so, like, I'm toying between the two. And I think that's why I have historically been so forward with men. I think that's why I'm so flirty and why I'm so, like, in your face, like, I want you. Because I'm so, like, I just grew up hating that I remember, like, my parents telling me, like, you are too forward. You are telling guys that you like them. And guys, I was probably in 4th, 2nd, 3rd grade, like, chasing boys, that whole thing. When I was a kid, I didn't wait for the boys to chase me. I would go straight up to them and be like, I think you're cute. And I remember my parents telling me that was, like, not okay. And so as I got older and got into college, I, like, did this full 180 and was like, no, like, I am going to be forward. I am going to tell people if I like them. So now I'm like, okay, what do I really believe? What do I really feel? Because I'm just uncomfortable across the board right now. just unwell, period. So I don't know what to do. I do know that I want to be invited. That sounds really like much more comfortable to me. But I'm also comfortable in the uncomfortability of pursuance because I've made myself do it. So I don't know.
I think this is all incredible. I would argue, that you know yourself more. I think we talked about this before. There's the same, and then there's like similar but different, right? I think you are in this new stage. I think you know yourself pretty well. I think you know yourself better than you ever have. And so it's like the techniques are just shifting. And I mean, we just say this every week, but you know this because you're such a nerd and wise one on this. Your brain is like almost done developing too. Like you're in a really cool state. So kind of from a science angle, it makes sense.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does.
So like, yeah, and it's kind of fun that you're getting so many real life attempts to like try this out.
It's a fun time. This little town apparently just running rampant with people I'm attracted to.
I loved that Adrian said, and that we started off this podcast saying, align it with your core values. And I think it's trickier said than done. But the worksheet that I'm referencing just has a list of 40 words on it. And you pick 10 and then you whittle them down to 5 and then you whittle them down to 1. And I always like to encourage clients to, if the action feels hard or uncomfortable or provokes some anxiety, well, if the outcome that you're desirous of aligns with those top 5 values, it is worth, kind of like Adrienne was saying, stepping over that precipice, at least just once, letting yourself see, okay, I'm going to go into this date tomorrow night. Ugh. And flirt like me, be true, talk about the things I love, talk about my passions, talk about my goals in life, be all that I am, forward and whatever. You already have been with this person through text. And I might feel anxiety. I might feel hella uncomfortable. I might feel like I'm wishing my words. And yet, if it aligns with my value of, I don't know, Playfulness. Okay. Then I always say to every client, if it felt too bad in your body, you don't ever have to do it again. Stop it.
You can stop mid-sentence.
Stop. Revoke consent, leave. You don't have to finish it out. On the other hand, if it doesn't align with a value and you're feeling this type of anxiety, I'd say you turn around, go. I am not in the business of making, especially people in female bodies feel like they have to constantly be striving. I think that what we are meant to do should feel like ease, should feel like taking a book off a shelf. Like, oh yeah, that's me. I do think in life we go through stages of growth where we've up-leveled and we're going to have to do the hard thing because we know it is what we want and what's on the other side. And that is different than pushing our bodies into something we're not meant for. And that's where my ethical frustration with flirting as we see it in the movies is, because we're not all going to flirt like that. We don't need to impress someone else with our flirting skills. Love my husband, but he tries to give it like it's a recipe to do things sometimes. And I'm like, babe, that's you. That worked for you. That doesn't work for everybody.
He's got his book and everything.
He loves his book. The man he is a projector, 5'1" profile. It just aligns with him. And there's going to be other people like that who truly feel such joy in following a script. That's why I'm always so glad he didn't find Christianity.
Oh God, yes.
I'm always like, thank God.
He would have been striving and thriving.
The scary ones. Anyway, and he's like, no, I want to see. Hopefully, sure. It's really good for people like that.
It is.
Because it gives you this little recipe.
Yeah.
And says we're going to spit you out on the other side with a solution.
Yep.
I don't believe in that bullshit. I believe that we're all unique and so vastly different, and that our flirting should, showcase us on a little, this is me. Not be a pretend.
Yeah. I just don't like feeling inauthentic in any capacity. Often when given a recipe or a script, even when you and I will talk about what can I say, that always feels so icky to me because I'm not that, I don't know. I am such a live in the moment, be authentic, say exactly what comes to mind. And sometimes that doesn't go well, but other times it does. So,
well, but I think that's because you're intuitive and you know that in the moment's going to be different than right now.
Yeah.
That's good.
So authenticity is, I would say, a very big value of mine. Here we are. I just think it's okay. The last thing that we haven't really talked about is that I think one of the beauties in flirting can be to let someone else know how special they are. And something my clients and I work on when we do sexual values is then we turn it into a sexual values mission statement. And I believe that our encounters in this world have an opportunity, yes, to heal us, but also to heal others. This is where sex ed with us like turns into so much more than just orgasm. It's no. I think that the World Health Organization says that sexual health is fundamental to the well-being of individuals, families, and communities because of this. Because when Holland gets an opportunity to flirt with someone and they leave her presence feeling so special because like, oh my goodness, she asked me a question and then she asked me a follow-up and then she made this eye contact and then she told me about some intimate thing that made me feel like, oh, like, wow, I am worthy and safe to share this thing with. And then the way she touched my arm or the way she put her hair behind her ear, like made me, oh my goodness, like so turned on. That was the best moment of my day. Like we're living for the small things.
You healed somebody that time. And I think that we need to remember that people are most likely thinking much more about themselves than they are about us most of the time. And so if a little flirting here and there can, I don't know, release something in us and give a gift to them, oh, well, that's cool.
It can be so fun. I really love to flirt.
Especially when it's low risks.
Yes, it's low risk. It's like that situation is perfect. Flirting with like pretty much anybody. I will do it. I love to flirt. It's a good time. But yeah, in low risk situations. Stop. Don't look at me like that.
I think it's a good time. I think it's a good place to practice.
It is. No, it was funny that you smirked.
I mean, please hear me. That is what I'm saying. I think led to my most authentic flirting with Trey because it was low risk in my mind.
Yeah.
I never had to see the dude again.
Okay. So how can we take the perspective of like, oh, this specifically is a high risk flirting situation? How can we take it and make it seem lower risk to our bodies? Like, can we make our bodies read something as low risk so that we present more authentically and more intentionally because our bodies aren't reading it as like there's consequences here?
You know, we talked about this before. You talked about it so wisely with like getting an STI test. I know this seems very different, but you know, we're big on having joy lined up for ourselves post the thing.
Right.
That all bets don't need to be riding on this one date, this one coffee, this one interaction. I think when I think of the flirting in California, I had a whole weekend full of stuff. This was one of. I was in abundance. And so I think maybe creating the life that you want to be living in so that if you flirt and it bombs, you're like, wow, that was the worst flirting. That you're like, and I go back to my great life.
Right.
Which I think, again, is why you're being so protective right now, is you're like, protective of my little life that I done built. You know?
I done did this.
I think that's okay. And I will say with trying his little methods that one of the methods was to do it lots and lots of times. So you get reps in feeling quote unquote rejection, which is a piece of attachment theory of we don't want to be abandoned and we actually want people to like us. But when we can teach our nervous systems that we're not being rejected, we are simply finding out if we're compatible with another person, like you just said earlier, it feels easier as we get in those reps. That's not going to be everybody's style. I understand, but maybe do other hard things like practice failure. Start rock climbing and be like, wow, Holland and I have done this. Bouldering's very hard, but we had a lot of fun trying and failing. So maybe try something else. Try to grow a flower and fail and then try again and do better and try again and do better. we don't transform overnight, and things take practice. So maybe like, I don't know, we talk about fucking first time on here all the time too. Reminding yourself that the first time is not going to be the best time. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah, low risk.
Just, yeah, almost maybe even, I do like a breathing practice. It's different than yours. Yours is very cool though.
This one? You knew that one?
Yes. Yeah. I take my right hand and I use my thumb and my pinky kind of like hang loose, and you cover one nostril and like breathe in and then breathe out the other nostril, and then so you like are singularing. What is that called? I don't know. You use one side of your nose at all times, and it really helps calm your vagus system, and it's incredible. I use that anytime I'm about to go into like a first date, a job interview. I was doing it before I met you. I was anytime you feel like that like body nervousness, you know, like it's different than the mental, but like genuinely like the sparkly chest feeling. It helps that go away. Yeah. So I will do that, and that also helps me be so much more present in the moment and recognize that this is just life. Everybody else is doing it. We're all stumbling through it. It's okay. Mistakes are acceptable, and tomorrow will still come.
That type of breathing has a fancy Sanskrit name that I cannot remember, but it is also called alternate nostril breathing.
Google it.
It's a great name for
it's so
breathing
helpful
through every other nostril. It's fantastically helpful. If you've never tried it, highly recommend. It is beautiful.
Changed my life, genuinely. I found it doing yoga randomly on a YouTube, and they started the yoga practice with that, and it has changed my life because it genuinely does like calm your physical nervous system. And it's crazy that you can do that. Why don't we teach children this? I could have used this before basketball games.
That sexual communication. Why are we not teaching all these things in school? Pleasure, leading with intuition, saying yes and no to things. The one that Holland's talking about that I do is I put one hand on my like heart or solar plexus, and then one hand on my womb. And I inhale and exhale, and I on the inhale say, I am here. And then on the exhale, I say, and this is now. Because so much of my healing journey is remembering that I am, yes, every version of the Lauren that's gone before me, but I have the wisdom of now. And so I'm not Lauren as a 7-year-old. I'm not the 14-year-old. I'm not the 21-year-old. I am the 38-year-old. And yeah, but I can still hold those and have compassion for them. And yeah, then sometimes I do a more intricate one that I do with Hemlock people, but that's my simple one. And it also brings me into the body. Yeah. And I try to really feel my belly with air. So sometimes we don't breathe.
No, yeah. It like you get anxious and all of a sudden the air is not airing anymore. I highly suggest implementing a breathing practice for us nervy girlies out there because it helps. It's really life-changing.
I wanted to close out talking a little bit about anybody who listens or watches this podcast who might be already in a partnership and wants to think about flirting. Yeah.
Flirting in partnership is so important.
Yeah. Why do you think so? Why do you say that?
Keeps the spark alive.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's connection and intimacy. It's showing desire for your partner. It's people talk often about losing the spark in long-term relationships. Well, do you flirt with your partner? Do you consensually smack their butt? Do you ask or like compliment their outfits or their hair? Do you notice when they get a haircut? Do you like do all these little tiny things? These are the little tiny things that keep relationships alive. And that's what flirting is noticing small things and pointing them out to that person and being like, wow, you sexy sucker. You got a cool banging haircut or something. That's why I think it's important. What about you?
I love that. And I just want you to apply that to yourself and your non-partnered. She just answered her own questions.
I do that sometimes.
There you go. We got to it. Yeah. I think that one of the most dangerous traps that long-term partners can fall into is thinking they know the other one completely. And hopefully we all grow until we die. And to be curious about a partner, to ask them on a little coffee date or to ask them to dinner not fancy all the time. And then just to ask them a question and sit there and like stare deeply into their eyes, try to make it so that they get uncomfortable. Like, oh my goodness, I'm being flirted with. That level of eye contact works every time. Works every time. Gentle touches, right? Or a may I hold your hand? Or yeah, may I put my hand on your leg? Little things like this, stroking their leg with your foot under the table, remembering the concept that Esther Perel talks about, the shadow of the third, that hopefully we have partnered with people who could be with anyone else on the planet and they're like choosing to be with us. So like, that's hot. So how would you want to flirt with them if they weren't your person? And just allowing that to pop online sometimes, juiciest thing in the world of, oh, wait, if I didn't know this person, I would be like, oh, well, tell me what you do. It's one of my favorite questions is to act like you don't know your partner and then start asking them some questions that you haven't asked in years. Tell me about your work. What's your favorite thing about what you do? Do you love what you do? I mean, it's so fun. It's the best. And then you can get playful. You can laugh. You can crack jokes. I love a date deck. I'll put the link below to just ask them questions that maybe you typically wouldn't ask. Mm-hmm. But yes, remember all of these same principles of flirting of, yeah, you want to get to know, you want to deepen connection. There's always a deeper level of connection because we're always changing. And yeah, don't feign interest. Do not do that. But yeah. And remember, people in long-term partnerships, you're interesting too. And if you don't feel interesting, then go make your life more interesting. Like if you're like, oh, no one would want to date me right now, become the type of person that somebody would want to date. But most likely you already are. But I don't know, if you feel like that, go we keep talking about rock climbing and bouldering, but like go start to do something new. It is a surefire way to surprise a partner. I work with lots of couples who've been together for forever. And when one of them starts to do something new, the other one's like, what? It's hot. It really is.
Being a changing and evolving human is really attractive.
It's really attractive.
It's so hot.
Use this podcast. Say, I was listening to this podcast the other day. What? Right? It's nifty and reminds us all that the other has individuated from us. Mm-hmm. We talk about this all the time, but enmeshment in dating or long-term partnership, nah. We are individual human beings who deserve to live in interdependent relationships, to be sharpened by the other, yes, and to run forward at hand in hand. We deserve community and loving relationships and to be true to ourselves and to be asking ourselves, hey, what are your needs, wants, and desires? Yeah, we deserve to be asking ourselves what we need, want, and desire at all times. And that takes responsibility on self.
And knowing self.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's the perfect wrap up because I feel like that's why you are where you are in this flirting dilemma.
True.
Yeah. Not because you're a bad flirter. I think you had, apparently, according to all your friends from before, like great flirting
She said,
skills.
I've never seen that. But apparently, allegedly, you can flirt.
Listen. You wise ones out there, let me know if she did. No, I do trust that you did and that you do. I have no worries about you.
Don't worry, guys. I'll just crawl into a hole.
I know, I do not worry about you. I think you're so remarkable. And the place I see your remarkability the most is when you're not interested in like a thing with somebody.
Exactly.
So please hear me. I'm your biggest fan. So that's all.
I just got to get out of my head. It's fine.
Or be just so confident that like your intuition's protecting your body until it's ready, which is also so okay. Mm-hmm. If it's like,
maybe, yeah, now is not the time.
This is mine.
Making myself bad at flirting to protect myself.
I'm so curious about tomorrow.
Me too. I have no idea.
Give the audience a teaser because this is coming a different way.
Right. Yeah. So my friend set me up with somebody. Yeah. One of my girlfriends was like, hey, one of my friends from college has moved back to town. Mm-hmm. And he asked me if I knew anybody that was single and fun. And I was like, my friend thought of me, apparently.
Well, because you are both.
I'm both single and fun.
Very.
And so she came to me and was like, here's his Instagram. Do you find him attractive? I was like, yeah, I do. And so, yeah, she gave him my number. We've texted a little bit back and forth, and we have a date tomorrow. So
please tell the audience, can you, if it feels okay.
Yeah, for sure.
What you said about text. Yeah, because this is new.
He texted me and was asking questions, which is great. That's a great first thing to do. Mm-hmm. However, I am so tired of texting people and being on I'm on my phone so much for work and for just life. And the fact that we're all on Instagram way too much. My screen time is downright embarrassing. So I don't want another reason to be on my phone. I don't want to text you. I'm not going to respond. I don't think I have responded to the man in probably over 24 hours, to be so honest with you, because I just don't want to. So he asked me questions and I said something along the lines of, I don't really want to get to know somebody over text or something. Like, let me know if you want to get drinks or dinner. It was kind. I had written it out in a nice way. I just am so over texting incessantly.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get to know each other. We're not going to know if we have chemistry. We're not going to know if we bounce off each other. I read energy more than anything else. You can call me, I guess. I don't really want to call you, though.
Yeah.
So take me to dinner. We'll have a good time. And that is what.
I thought it was incredible.
I think that was the second text I sent this man.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what this whole precipice thing that Andrea Marie Brown is talking about. This what you want is on the other side. Mm-hmm. So do yourself a favor and find out if it's what you want. And if not, fine too. Truly. He can go live his best life. But why waste time?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I always say, if there is a human need to feel like you have a companion. I chatted with people all over the country and it filled a need for a season. I knew I wasn't going to be meeting anyone in Lynchburg. I was getting my nonprofit acquired. It was fine. I don't think it was keeping me from anything, but it's definitely not pushing the relationships forward. Not at all. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So to be continued on that one. To be continued. But it's a total blind date-ish, and so not something that
Yeah, I'm assuming he knows what I looked like. I'm assuming that she's showed him my Instagram. I don't know.
That'd be hilarious if he was.
If he has no clue what I look like.
Oh, this is fun. This is fun.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for the follow-up. Unless it's so anything that
then we just won't talk about it.
We just won't. The only reason we won't talk about it is if it's meh, meh, meh. Nothing. Okay. I feel like this is a good wrap-up point. Yeah. What a good podcast. All about flirting.
Flirting.
Yeah. Use what code?
Flirt.
Use
code FLIRT to download the values worksheet for free from our website. The link is below.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to this episode of Sex Ed for You, where research meets reality.
Bum, bum, bum.
I feel like this was a perfect example of how our research meets reality.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. And how we grow and become and get to.
We do.
Please form your own opinions. Make your own informed decisions. This is not cookie cutter. As you can see throughout this whole thing, we were having these aha moments. Everybody gets to have those on their own. And what is right in Holland's body or my body is not going to be right in your body. And please use this as a launching pad to do more research. If you want to work one-on-one with someone, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult. I raised my hand.
She said, I volunteer as tribute.
I'll work with you. I really, really like doing this. Yeah,
you can put in a request. And potentially you will get to meet with Lauren for 15 minutes and talk about your story and whether or not y'all would be a good fit for each other, which is great. If not, we'll recommend you some colleagues. Follow us on Instagram at sex_ed_for_you. And also join Hemlock at sexedforyou.com/Hemlock. Use code BRANCH to get the first month free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.